I'm Benny Goldstein, and I'm the author of Lingo Your Marriage. Today I'll share with you the first lingo word we came up with. It's called hamburger. You know how when you go to McDonald's and the person behind the register types in your order as you say it, and they say, okay, you ordered one large Mac, and you type it in, and one large Coke and one medium fries. So they're repeating your order as they punch it in. Why do they do that? They do that to validate your order. So same thing in a relationship. If you want your spouse to validate what you just said because you want to make sure that you really heard you and understood you, you tell them, hamburger after me. Hamburger what I just said. And that forces your spouse to repeat in their own words what you just told them to make sure they really understood you. And many times when they do that, they totally got what you said wrong. And it's so funny because you think you're expressing something, but they're not getting it. So you say hamburger after me. Hamburger symbolizes the McDonald's scenario where the cash register hamburgers and validates what you said. So same thing, that's what that word does. It makes the relationship fun. Like, okay, hamburger after me doesn't make it intimidating, making it sound like, please validate after what I said and let's confirm that you really understood me. No one wants to hear that, but if you make it in a fun way, that's what my Lingo Your Marriage book is about, making relationship communication fun. Now, there are many cases where your spouse just doesn't get it. You keep repeating it, and he keeps repeating back to you something totally different. So we have a word for that. It's called parrot. Parrot after me. Now, what does a parrot do? It repeats word for word exactly what you say. So if your spouse really doesn't get it, and it happens sometimes, you tell them, okay, I'm spoon feeding you exactly what I want to hear. And you know what, women and men? It's okay if it doesn't come from them. It's okay if you repeat it and you spoon feed them the words. Your relationship is not less. It doesn't mean he loves you any less. So for an example, I remember a scenario that I came downstairs and my wife just got her eyebrows done. She spent a few hours and she came back and she wanted me to notice it. And she's like, Benny, do you notice anything about my face? And I'm staring at Debbie and looking at her and I'm like, no, what am I supposed to notice? And she says, come on, well, what do you notice about my face? And in the meantime, I had the keys in the door for the house, and I'm trying to fiddle the door key, and I'm like, it's not working, this key. And like, I'm not paying attention to her. And like, she starts yelling at me and she says, okay, you're not getting it. I want you to repeat after me. Say, Debbie, I noticed you did your eyebrows and I love it. And I'm like, that's all I have to repeat after you? Okay. And that's what I was thinking to myself. And I'm like, Debbie, I noticed you just did your eyebrows and I love it. And she felt so good, even though she spoon-fed me those words. And a lot of women out there would say, oh, that's not a relationship, that's not fair. But sometimes if you train your husband like a dog, there's actually a good book out there, Train Your Husband Like a Dog, and it works. Because it goes both ways, by the way. I'm not sexist or in any way, feel like put men in a box or women in a box. I actually say that in the first chapter of my book, because men and women, they both feel and experience things the same way, so they both want to feel loved in certain ways. But in both instances, this happens where the spouse wants to get a point across and they don't just get it, so you just have to use the word parrot, spoon feed, call it whatever you want, but just make it fun, make it visual, and make sure your spouse knows that it's not condescending and you just want them to give you what you need at that moment. And I promise you, your relationship, the communication of your relationship will be 10 times better.